Christianity is not just sin management. I think many of us kind of go through our faith life treating it like it is. I'm just working really hard to not keep falling into that sin. When I do, I go to confession, I start over, and we just keep going through the same cycle. In a way, sin is going to be a big part of our life, sure, and we have to kind of work through that. But Christianity is ultimately about growing so close to the Lord, allowing Him to dwell within us, that He transforms us. He transforms my heart to be more like His heart, so that it is more like Jesus living through me, that I live and move and have my being in Him. That's what Christianity is. It's not just sin management. But sin has to be dealt with. And sin always has deeper roots than I think we're aware of. In the last week, all the priests of the Archdiocese went down to Colorado Springs for a week of convocation. We have a lot of presentations, time together in fraternity, time together in sharing. And the entire focus was, how do we grow in kind of spiritual healing, or the inner healing that we need in our life? And the analogy that kept being presented to us was the analogy of a tree. You have what we see of the tree, the branches, the leaves, the fruit, then there's the trunk of the tree, and then there's the roots. And if a tree is growing good fruit, you know it's a healthy tree, it's got good roots. If a tree is not growing healthy fruit, then there's something wrong deeper within the tree. And the same thing is within our spiritual life. If we look at our spiritual life, and we're dealing with sins, especially if we're dealing with big ones or habitual ones, that's kind of the external. If those are the fruits of my life at the moment, then I need to go searching for the roots. What are the roots of those problems? Because otherwise, if all I do is go to confession and just keep clipping off that apple, another one's going to come in its place. It's not so good, right? I need to get down. I need to start healing the tree from the deepest part of myself. And so I'll give you a few examples of this, how it is that the bad roots lead to bad fruits. We'll start with maybe someone comes to confession and confesses a gossip at the workplace. I might ask, well, why do you gossip at the workplace? Well, I want to fit in. Interesting. There's a hint already of a wound that's there. I want to fit in. So maybe we explore that a little bit. Ask the Lord to shed His light on that. Lord, show me in my life, where was that biggest wound or that first wound in my life where I felt like I didn't fit in? It might be a powerful thing to pray with. Maybe the Lord would show a person a particular moment in their childhood where they felt excluded from the other kids at school, or they felt made fun of, bullied, something like that. And that has caused a wound, which then led to a whole bunch of lies they started to believe about themselves. I'm not good, I'm not cool, I'm not important. And so that now, years later, is playing itself out in trying to do everything possible to fit in, make it feel like I'm normal, like I'm like everybody else. If we can meet the Lord in that deep wound, it can start to heal the problem of sin that we're dealing with today. Another example, let's say a person struggles with some serious anger. Under anger, there's always sadness. The person who's angry doesn't usually notice that, but underneath anger, there's always sadness of some sort. If you can identify what that sadness is, ask the Lord, Lord, show me, what is that big wound of sadness? Maybe the first wound of that sadness. Help me to encounter you there. Maybe the person discovers that there's a place in their life where they felt deeply abandoned, deeply rejected. Maybe they're outright abused. That led to such sadness in their life. And because of that wound, they've kind of developed this false identity within themselves. They've started to believe false things, that they are not good, that they're not lovable, and it leads them to maybe responding to this sadness with outbursts of anger that they're still dealing with years down the road. If we can meet the Lord in the wound, then we can start to heal even the problem of sin happening today. One last example. Sexual sin. Let's say a person is really struggling with some sexual sin. You ask them, why? Why are you struggling with this? What is it that you're seeking? We're always seeking something good no matter what our sin is. We're always seeking something good. Maybe that person would say, well, I'm seeking connection. I'm seeking comfort, relief of some sort. Well, then where's the root of that wound? Lord, show me in my heart, where was I first longing for comfort and didn't get it? When was I longing for connection and I didn't get it? If we can meet the Lord there, it's going to help to tear apart all the lies we believe about ourselves, and we can start growing and healing that sin. It's a difficult journey to go from the fruits down to the roots. And yet, the Lord wants to take us there. We may not know the way into those dark parts of our heart, but Jesus says he is the way. We may not want to have the light of truth shining on those places of our heart, but the lies have been controlling us for too long. And it's time for Jesus' light, Jesus who is the truth, to shine that in our hearts. We want the healing, we need the healing. Ultimately, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. If we're willing to go into those deep places, those painful places, into those wounds of our heart, and allow the Lord to show us the truth that is there, allow the Lord to love us there, and begin to untie all of the knots of all those lies and start to bring us healing, we're going to start to experience life and life in abundance. Christianity is not just about sin management. It's ultimately about transformation of the heart so that Jesus might truly live within us.